And we're back. We're working on some more cars today. That's right, guys. Today I'm gonna begin the installation of the turbo kit on the white car. Got the blue car in this garage, and what I gotta do is I gotta get it outside and get the white car backed in, and we're gonna start tearing it down and seeing what it takes. Now, I downloaded the instructions, and I wanted you guys to hear these instructions so that you have a grasp of what it takes to install the turbo kit. So I'm just going to read it off real quick. I'm a pretty quick reader. I'm not going to go too into the weeds with it because, you know, a lot of you guys are impatient with this stuff. So let me just read, okay? I'm going to do it as quickly as possible, what it takes to install a turbo kit of this nature. It's a single turbo kit, and you guys might be surprised at some of the things you have to do in order to install this turbo kit. So let's start reading really quickly. Okay. Say, number one, place the vehicle on a hoist. Start by disconnecting the battery. The battery tray along with the cover between the strut tower and the firewall must be temporarily removed. Battery has to come out immediately, and the tray. Remove the cold air, sound tube, PCV hoses, and discard. Remove the upper radiator cover. Remove belly pan, discard, and inner fenders. Remove the belly pan and discard? Are you telling me the belly pan is going to disappear from this car with the turbo kit? It looks that way. I'm not happy about that. I have a performance package car. It drives well. It handles well. I am not going to discard the belly pan. I'm sorry. I'm going to do something to keep that, because if I have to modify it, I'm keeping that belly pan. Boy, reading the instructions kind of pissed you off a little bit. Remove radiator fan, discard the radiator fan and start draining the coolant. Remove lower radiator hose and coolant tank, discard that. Remove factory oil cooler, discard that. Remove active grille shutters, remove bumper beam, discard that, because the intercooler is gonna take its place, the air to air. Remove windshield wiper fluid tank and hoses, discard that. You get what I'm saying, guys? I'm not complaining, just telling you some of the stuff that has to be totally redone in order to install this turbo kit. Remove complete exhaust system, discard. Not gonna happen. Sorry, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna discard my exhaust system. Temporarily remove the PCM and discard the mounting bracket. Remove the oil pan. I'm not doing that either. I will drain it somewhere else. I am not removing the oil pan. Drill and install the provided dash 12 bung for the oil return. Reinstall. I will not do that. Remove top radiator brackets, discard that. Remove radiator to make room for the next step. Enlarge hole to 7/8 and drill straight through the lower radiator support. Install downpipe and factory, this is remove and discard radiator rubber insulators. Install radiator and enlarge holes and install provided upper radiator brackets. Install forward facing headers. Remove lower head studs to provide extra clearance. Be sure to make the clearance between the header bolt and the brake lines, AC lines, and wiring harness, and use provided heat sleeves. Move top alternator nut stud along with the two front cover bolts to install billet support bracket for the turbo. Complete installing hot side bleed V-bands loose and tie in all once assembled. Cut and install lower radiator hose. Provide the 45-degree aluminum tube. Tube will provide extra clearance around the turbo support bracket. Install turbo with provided twin scroll T6 gaskets and hardware. Use one gasket between the billet, merge, and bracket, and the other gasket between the turbo, exhaust flange, and bracket. Keep compressor housing loose to clock it properly further down installation. Install oil filter adapter, oil feed and oil drain. Place PCM as pictured. Use existing hole clip nut onto flame rail, clip nut and install onto frame rail. Install intercooler, fan, and shroud. Install MAF extension harness. Install O2s. Got it. Then it says install downpipe, factory sensor, install blow-off valve, install coolant catch can, reinstall inner fender liners, slight trimming if necessary, make hole for bumper exit. Not doing that either. Refill all fluids, recheck, and load the custom tune. So, guys, belly pan. I'm not happy about that, but it says that's what has to happen, and I'm gonna do everything possible to reinstall that stuff, because part of the allure of having a performance package car is all of the stuff that makes it a performance package car. The belly pan keeps a lot of junk away from the engine bay, and generally cleaner. I like the look underneath of the car with a belly pan, but if it tells me to discard it, I'm gonna have a problem with that. So I'm gonna do it. Understand this, guys, though. I'm not complaining, just telling you my thoughts and process. If you guys want like a daily driver situation, and if you enjoy a lot of the amenities that the Performance Pack has, you might have to look into something else, let's be honest. But I knew what I was getting into, so I'm gonna go ahead and do everything possible to keep the car as stock appearing, underneath and everything, because I am not going to hack this up and make it a drag car. That's just not what I'm going to do. So, all right, that's enough of that. Read it quickly. Hopefully you guys are on board. Let me go ahead and get the cars moved around, get the white car in here, start trying to make sense of it all, and then we'll document it. So this is the business end. You saw on one of the videos where I made a quick little cold air situation. Drove okay, not the best, but I didn't care to dial it in because I knew I was going to go turbo or another supercharger based on what's happening. So as you can tell, there's a lot more room to work with now that it's NA. I got to remove a bunch of radiator hoses, remove a whole bunch of stuff. It's turbo, so I don't have to mess with belts or anything, which is kind of nice. I definitely have to take the headers off. That's going to be a massive job, guys. That is no joke. So if anything, this video will be me taking the headers off and giving them to the dude in the complex who has helped me out so many times, and he's a good kid. So let's get working. So guys, I'm gonna do something I probably, if you would have talked to me about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I would have never even thought of doing. But because I've been working on these cars the last couple of weeks, I thought to myself, I'm sick and tired of working on dirty shit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get all this shit soaked because I am sick and tired of having shit everywhere be a problem. So I have some time. I'm gonna soak everything I see. Okay, let it drip, let it clean up, so that when I'm in there and doing stuff, I'm not completely disgusting gross. By the way, this aerator from Ammo is what I'm using. It's badass. Get one. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this stuff sort of just take away the cake and gook, because there's just a bunch of stuff going on in there. I have to take the front bumper off, so I'll do this to both sides, and while that's doing its thing, I'm gonna take the front bumper off, and maybe I'll work with a less greasy area than I normally would have. People that know me probably going, is something wrong with Alex? He's cleaning his stuff. Guys, I have time. I got a ZR1, I got a GT500, got a garage. Things are good. So that means something terrible is gonna happen soon. So might as well clean as much as you can, so you get less bullshit on your arms and elbows, and it makes life generally a little easier to work with. So I got some time, let it soak, let it do its thing, and I'll be back at it. Much better. Look at that. Wow. A little scrubbing. It's getting a little wet still there, but yeah, both sides look a lot less shitty. I don't know why I'm showing you this, but I definitely needed a slightly cleaning. I gotta do these, but they gotta come out. Just wanted to clean it up real quick. That little aerator kicks ass. Just want to show you that. Right, back at it. Alrighty, just so that I don't give you the long stroke, let's get you up to date. Bumper off, easy. Funny thing is, it's kind of on the same width as the ZR1. I thought the ZR1 for sure would be wider, but it's pretty darn close in my opinion when it comes to overall width of the vehicle. I always thought S550s were narrower, but no way, it's about the same. So got the extensions off. These were totally only being used for off-road applications only. There is no way in hell I would ever drive on the street with this. This was 100% when it was off of the road. Hi EPA. We're gonna go ahead and remove this guy, discard it, bye-bye, see you later. So the intercooler is gonna go in there. Now I am working on the ultimate header. I got this sucker way up in the air, man. That was nice to invest a little money and got the fan kicking, so it isn't terrible down here. So I'm taking the starter off. As everyone knows, starters on all modular Mustangs are a pain. Actually, all modular motors, it's a pain, but we got the right tools. We're chugging along. This is the ultimate header fit and finish. It's you know, uncoated, but man, it's not rusting. It's just, you know, changed in color based on the heat. I'm gonna go ahead and get these off, and if Tyler's in the complex, I'll head over to his place, get him over to him. Once I get these off, guys, technically I should be done for the day, but if I can start messing with the fan stuff and start the hot side, I'll get as much done as I can up until about 4 p.m. So it's a good 6-7 hour work day. Again, taking my time, filming the whole 9 yards. I'm not gonna crank too crazy, but everything's going pretty good so far. So let's keep chugging, take the headers off, get them to Tyler, and fan and all the other stuff has to come out. So we'll see how all that goes. So it's taken me 40 or 50 minutes to take the bumper, the liner, the radiator, everything off, the cold air, everything. 40 minutes tops. 50 minutes taking the starter off, mostly because the bolts are severely over tightened. I'm always gonna work on my old cars from now on. Severely over tightened, almost to the point that I thought I was gonna break them in the car. Just thought I'd put that out there in case people were wondering why I now work on my own cars. Members of the channel and on the chat, I told you that there's a couple of things right off the bat I dislike about the kit. Number one, you lose the windshield washer reservoir. They say discard. I'm like, excuse me? I guess the PCM is gonna mount there, but what do I do about windshield washer fluid? I guess I'm gonna have to do something, think of something, figure it out. Also, the other thing that gets eliminated in the kit is one of the better things this car has. A great handling package, and the sway bar has to go. I dismounted the AC to get the headers off. I'll show you guys what the headers look like on the ground. Now, these are ultimate header 1 inch and 7/8 primary. Again, I only ran these at the track ever. This never was on the road. This was always at the track for obvious reasons. 1 inch and 7/8 primary. Been on the car for over 2 years. They're gonna go to a kid in the complex. Has helped me out a lot, so hopefully he can pick them up and I'll put them on video quick. But let me show you some of the progress and what I had to do to take these headers off on the ground. That's right. First of all, I am supporting the complete motor with the Daytona jack from Harbor Freight because I had to remove the motor mount. This guy with the long tubes installed, you gotta take the motor mounts off, man. You're not gonna get to those top 2 bolts at all. You also have to undo the steering shaft. So the steering shaft had to get unbolted. The motor mounts had to get removed so that I can get up in there and be able to access the bolts. I also had to remove the starter. You guys know this. The people that have done this before, you know the drill, and you know how fun it was removing a starter from a Coyote car with long tube headers. A lot of people said you're gonna have a tough time doing it on the ground. I did, I'm not gonna lie. It was a pain in the butt, but it's off. And now what I'm gonna do is work on the hot side, or at least the primaries, or whatever you call them, the header, the turbo manifolds, turbo headers, whatever. Because I'm down there, might as well get the pain in the ass job done quickly. Then after those are in, which I suspect I'm gonna have to mess with the AC or something, who knows. I'll get to working on the reservoir tank and the drive shaft. Then I'll get back to it, putting piping up in the front here. I also have to get rid of all of the the coolant lines. All the lines have to be taken out because they get rerouted. So I got to figure that out. So let me get to work. I'll update you once something else is noteworthy, but the headers are out. Took about solid 4 hours setting up, filming, doing all the shit, and then figuring out I had to buy some tools. So I went ahead and got myself a tool cart and loaded it up with all the tools that I have, and I bought a couple of extra things that I needed. Typical bullshit Harbor Freight stuff. By the way, got a cart, absolutely. And Jake was nice enough to let me borrow his Matco Tools Creeper. Man, what a difference that made. Okay, that's enough talking. Gonna get to work. Gonna get the reservoir tank off. Gonna put the hot side headers on. I'll show you that. and I'm gonna go ahead and take the sway bar off. Hopefully I can get that done by the end of today. I gave Tyler my headers. He's a kid that's helped me out in the complex. Has a GT500 cat back in the car. Functional. So there he goes. Nice brand new headers for the kid. So that guy's helped me out a lot with alignments and stuff. So that guy's a good kid. So I'm like, here, free headers. I'm good. I think he's gonna turn around. If he turns around, I'll get him on the way back, because the car does sound good and he does good work. I think it's at laid out 5.0, at laid out 5.0. I think is his handle. Is that what the kids say? That looks good. I can't see shit. I can't see anything in that thing. Look at that. Getting pulled over. Drug dealer. Oh my god, dude, I can't see shit. Look at that. Oh no, fuck all that. I'll get pulled over immediately. All right, man, I'll see you later. Seriously, one of the young guys that's doing it right. Seriously, just good dude, young, works hard all the time. He does all my alignments, he does all my tire changes, he does suspension work, he did the F-150 axles. Good kid. All right, let's keep chugging on this turbo kit. Okay, update. So I got most of the hot side on, but as always, I got some thoughts, complaints, and tips and tricks. So the engine is jacked up pretty much as high as I can go, but when I go down to where the motor mounts hit this wiring, this thing is literally pinching that wiring. This is going to get red hot. This is going to cook that wiring. It's not a matter of if, it is. So do I have to relocate the PCM wires? I mean, you know, okay. This side is a little better, but this side, I got to take the alternator off, which it might have said in the instructions, it might have not, who knows, to get to the last nut, somewhere in there, like in there, there's a nut I got to tighten, right there. How do I get to it? Well, I think I take the cylinder head off. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This kit, for the layman, for the regular guy, for the guy that doesn't do it professionally, needs to be put on with the engine out of the car. I'm gonna be honest with you. In my opinion, you put the hot side on by taking the engine out. There are certain bolts that you just can't reach. Other thing, it asks you to use some of the studs, some of the factory hardware, and some hardware that they provide. They provide two different size bolts. They provide a 11/16 head and a 15mm head bolt. So they provide two bolts on top of the stud, so that you literally have to have 3 different size sockets or 3 different size wrenches to get in there. I had to do a combination of sockets, wrenches, and thank God for these little swivel guys, because without them I wouldn't be able to do half the stuff that I'm doing now. And I still haven't put the engine in its resting position, meaning once I have a feeling I'm gonna leave a couple of bolts loose. I just literally cannot get to them. I'll do my best, I'll keep trying obviously, but once I put the engine in its resting position, I might have to jack it back up. That's right, I might have to bring it down, put it on the motor mounts, tighten everything down, and see what hits. And if something's hitting, remove that part. I mean, I already got to remove the sway bar, which pisses me off to no end. And windshield washer fluid reservoir just disappears with no provisions of anything. So I don't know, maybe it'll make power, but I'm not really thrilled with the install. And I've installed, you know, power generating turbines, power plants, which is complex. This is complex because it doesn't need to be complex. I think a couple of things could have been done differently, namely instructions. Let's just be honest. This thing needs a lot of instructions specific to the Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 for your AC, this and this and that. Who knows? But as of now, the hot side is in, the headers are out. Again, just giving you my honest thoughts. That's why I paid for the kit, because I wanted to give everyone 100% honest thoughts. If someone was to say to me, this is a 100% race kit, not meant to be street driven, not meant to be on a car that has AC, not meant to be on a car that handles, stops, or anything like that, I would 100% understand. 100% understand. But on a street car that I drive a lot, you might want to second guess getting this kit. So, all right, keep chugging, see what else pops up. So, let's get you caught up on all the action. Engine is way up in the air, if you can tell. Engine is way up in the air. There's plenty of clearance there, and this will have to come down quite a bit. But let me move this guy. This guy, one of the hot sides, is facing this way. Other guy's facing this way, so technically it's in. Now what I'm gonna do is start removing the radiator and all the hoses, and then tomorrow I'll get working on the sway bar and give it a proper burial, because apparently it'll never be in this car again. Also, this guy, they'll probably share a casket because they'll never be on the car again, apparently. Like I said before, in order to install this kit, in my opinion, it's better to have the motor outside of the car. As always, just like with long tubes, you gotta remove the motor mounts. Absolutely has to happen. Again, I'm supporting the engine with the jack, and guys, it's not easy at all. It's a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie. But tomorrow I'm gonna work on the sway bar. The fan has to come off, tank, and I got to relocate the PCM. I'm gonna do as much as possible, because right now it's really difficult to get at some of the what do you call them, the primary bolts. Some of the bolts in there are tough to get at. They're really high up there, and I can't really crank on it the way I want to crank on it. So what's happening is I don't have any room. I probably should have installed studs on the top, but even if I installed the studs on the top, I probably wouldn't have been able to reach them from the bottom. So that's going to be a problem. So again, got the headers out, gave them to Tyler. Tyler's got a nice set of headers, ultimate headers for him. Promised him I'd give them to him, so we're good on that. Got the hot side headers, or the turbo headers on. That's all. I mean, I worked for 4 hours today, 4:30 to 8. That's all I could do, and I worked straight through. Very difficult to get at everything, very difficult to lift the engine out of the way and give me the proper clearance. And I'm still suspicious as to when I drop the engine and put the motor mounts on, the amount of room I'll have with the headers rubbing on the AC stuff and the PCM wiring. I'm really suspicious about that, but I'll update you guys as I go. But I wanted to get you at least some progress videos on the car. I am working on it nonstop, so if you guys don't see constant uploads, it's because I'm just concentrating on working on the car. All right, guys, keep in touch for another video. It'll probably be me removing the sway bar, removing the fan, installing the new fan, doing everything I can before I have to start putting some turbo piping on, because in my opinion, once I put that stuff on, I'm not gonna wanna take it off quickly. So I gotta tighten down the primaries, the bolts, get to the bolts somehow, and start putting some turbo piping on and see how all that goes. All right, guys, thanks for bearing with me. I understand that you guys want some more content, but I'm trying my best to get everything done on this car in a timely fashion. Title for the Corvette supposedly showed up, so I'll get you a video on that soon. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Talk to you later.